It is the most recognizable silhouette on the planet. With over 100 million units produced, the AK-47 has appeared on national flags, changed the outcomes of revolutions, and survived the harshest environments known to man, from the humid jungles of Vietnam to the freezing tundras of Siberia. But what makes this rifle truly legendary isn't its accuracy or its rate of fire. It's its manufacturing philosophy. While Western rifles were built like Swiss watches, Mikhail Kalashnikov designed a weapon meant to be built by the millions, in factories staffed by workers with minimal training. Today, on Process Sector, we are traveling to the heart of the Izhmash factory in Russia to see how raw blocks of steel and wood are transformed into the world's most resilient firearm. The engineering philosophy: loose is better. Before we see the sparks fly, we have to understand the secret sauce of the AK-47. Most high-performance machines fail when dirt enters the system. The AK-47 is the opposite. It was designed with generous tolerances. The moving parts inside the rifle have enough wiggle room that mud, sand, and carbon buildup simply get shaken out rather than jamming the action. In the world of production, this means the factory doesn't need the microscopic precision of a space shuttle facility. It needs heavy-duty consistency. This is a story of simplified industrialization, forging the heart, the receiver and barrel. The evolution of stamping: the receiver is the box that holds the gun together. In the early 1940s, the first AKs used milled receivers. This involved taking a solid 5-pound block of steel and using CNC machines, or manual lathes at the time, to carve away 80% of the metal. It was slow and expensive. In 1959, the factory perfected the AKM, Automat Kalashnikova Modernizirovanny. They switched to sheet metal stamping. This is where the process sector truly shines. Huge rolls of 1 mm thick carbon steel are fed into a 200-ton hydraulic press. In a single thump, the machine punches out the flat shape and bends it into a U-shaped box. This reduced production time by 50% and made the rifle lighter. This stamping technology is what allowed the AK to be produced in every corner of the globe. The barrel, cold hammer. Forging: the barrel is where the explosion happens, meaning it must withstand pressures of 45,000 psi. The Kalashnikov factory uses a process called cold hammer forging. They start with a steel rod that is shorter and thicker than the final barrel. A mandrel: a hardened steel rod with the rifling pattern, the grooves that make the bullet spin, carved into it, is inserted into the center. Then, 4 massive industrial hammers begin to beat the outside of the steel rod simultaneously. As they strike, the steel is squeezed and lengthened, crushing it onto the mandrel. This doesn't just shape the barrel, it compresses the molecular structure of the steel, making it incredibly dense and heat-resistant. This is why an AK-47 barrel can glow cherry red during a 300-round mag dump and still function perfectly afterward. The chrome and the claw, internal components. Chrome lining and corrosion resistance. One of the AK's biggest advantages is its chrome-lined bore. Because Soviet-era ammunition often used corrosive primers that left salt deposits in the gun, the barrels would rust instantly. To prevent this, the factory uses industrial electroplating. The barrels are dipped into a chemical bath where an electric current bonds a thin layer of industrial chromium to the inside of the barrel. Chrome is harder than steel and as smooth as glass. This layer makes the barrel nearly immune to rust and allows the bullets to travel with less friction. It's an expensive industrial step, but it's why AKs found in swamps 40 years later can still be fired today. The bolt carrier and gas piston. The engine of the AK is the long-stroke gas piston. Unlike the American M16, which blows dirty gas directly into the gun's brain, the AK uses a long steel rod. These parts are created through investment casting and precision milling. Molten steel is poured into ceramic molds to create the rough shape. Once cooled, automated CNC machines mill the locking lugs. the tiny teeth that lock the bolt into the barrel. This is the only part of the gun that requires high-precision math. If the headspace, the gap between the bolt and the bullet, is off by the thickness of a human hair, the gun could explode in the driver's hands. Furniture and final assembly. The furniture. Laminated wood versus polymer. The classic AK look comes from its dark reddish wood. This isn't just a piece of timber, it's laminated birch. The factory glues dozens of thin layers of birch together with the grain running in opposite directions, then compresses them under high heat. This creates a plywood that is stronger than solid oak and won't warp or crack in the humid jungles or the dry desert. In modern versions like the AK-12, this is replaced by glass-filled nylon, a high-strength plastic injected into molds at 250 degrees Celsius. The assembly line. Despite the high-tech machines, final assembly is still done by hand. In the Ijevsk factory, a line of skilled technicians, many of whom have worked there for decades, rivet the receiver together. They use pneumatic rivet guns to squeeze the steel pins that hold the trunnions in place. Every rifle is then hand-cycled. A worker pulls the charging handle back and forth hundreds of times to ensure the action feels right. If there is a snag, it is sent back to the grinding station. The torture test, the ultimate QC, the quality control. The final step is what made the Kalashnikov factory famous. Random samples from every batch are sent to the torture chamber. 1. The dust room. The rifle is placed in a box where fans blow fine sand at 50 miles per hour into every crack of the gun. It must fire a full magazine without a jam. 2. The ice box. The gun is frozen to -50 degrees Celsius until it is encased in ice. The shooter must be able to kick the bolt open and fire. 3. The drop test. The rifle is dropped from 2 meters onto a concrete floor directly on its muzzle and its buttstock to ensure it doesn't accidentally discharge. Only after passing these industrial nightmares are the rifles stamped with the factory's proof mark, coated in a thick layer of cosmoline, a brown, wax-like grease, to prevent rust during shipping, and packed into wooden crates. Conclusion. The enduring legacy. The process sector final word. The AK-47 is not a triumph of high-tech elegance. It is a triumph of brute force industrialization. It was designed to be easy to make, easy to fix, and impossible to break. While modern warfare is moving toward lasers and drones, the stamped steel simplicity of the Kalashnikov ensures that it will likely remain on the world's battlefields for another century. So, are you a fan of the classic wooden AK-47? Or do you prefer the modern tactical polymer versions? And do you think any other machine in history is as durable as this rifle? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, look at the process sector, hit that like button, and subscribe. We're moving from the battlefield to the kitchen in our next video. You won't want to miss it.